people talk, listen, man, I'm going to raise that red flag.
This narrative, especially after 1 year.
1 year.
One bad year. It's one big splash move. And because I don't think people understand how much cap space we can create.
Alex, I want to ask you, because you're a very humble person.
And I'm never going to be right about anything.
Yeah.
I was right.
What's up, y'all? So, guys, I gotta admit, I was on a roll. I was crushing it. And then I realized I didn't hit record. I was in a flow. I was crushing. It sucks, man. You guys missed probably the best part of what I'm going to give you today. But I was crushing it. So let's see if I can just go back to and give that same energy, I guess. What's up, y'all? So today was not the day we were expecting, or the day I was expecting. Last time I was on here, I predicted that we would sign DK Metcalf, and I thought it was going to be this weekend. I was telling people that he was going to get traded this weekend. I guess I can go into that right now. Basically, I'll get into it later. Just getting out into the economics of trade versus free agency, but I'll talk about it later. But just in general, as a rule in life, if you don't get what you want, you got to take away what you can to get better. So the world revolves around data, and in this world that we have right now, that's why you always use that word over and over and over and over and over again. And it's data. It ain't data. It's probably data, but I say data. Whatever. But data is the most valuable thing on earth. You ask Elon Musk, you ask Jeff Bezos, you ask Tim Cook. Data is the most valuable thing on earth. So we should always be trying to gain more data, which is basically knowledge, and knowledge is power. I know what I know. The more you learn, the farther you'll go. I don't know if you guys know the song, but I did it when I was in 5th grade choir. You understand, you'll be taking a stand because knowledge is power. Grab it while you can. I can't believe I remember that song. Anyway, so let's take what we know about what happened today as far as the DK trade. I know, whatever you haven't heard, whatever you heard from anyone else, I know we were in on DK. I know we were in on DK till today. And I'm done being the source guy. There ain't nothing fun about being a source guy. Treat your source guys be nice to them, because being a source guy sucks. You have all these expectations. Alex, what do you hear? What do you hear? I'm new at this. So I'm just like kind of messaging like, you're trying to keep like a not annoying relationship with these people. Like, hey, what's going on? Being a source guy is no fun. I'm done being a source guy. But I know for a fact that we were in it until today. C3 Anthony, who does, God, man, he spends so much work on this stuff. I trust this dude. He has, I don't know if he has like sources, but he's worked with so many different underground, I guess, accounts, whether it's on Instagram, Twitter, and like DMs these guys and all this stuff. He's on his way to be a pretty good beat writer, journalist, whatever. And he shared that he had someone he follows posted that we were offering a third and a fifth or something like that, and a $120 million extension for DK, while the Steelers came in with a second and $132 million extension. And they didn't give him a $150 million contract. They gave him a $132 million extension on his $18 million contract. That's bananas. That's $33 million. We're offering $30 million. We're offering an Ayuk contract, which I think is reasonable. They were offering $33 million a year. So we lost DK, of course. What's the data immediately that I know? One, we're being aggressive. Two, wide receiver one is important to us. We want a wide receiver one. Three, we're responsible. We saw what the Steelers came with, and we're like, all right, we love DK, but we ain't giving him a $33 million a year extension. Hell no. Hell no. So I'm impressed, actually, by them having because I know they're probably getting a lot of pressure from the fan base to get Bryce help. But they're willing to not overpay. Be aggressive, but not overpay. What's another data point that I can get from that? They probably have a backup plan because they're not desperate. Because when you're desperate, like the Steelers, who didn't have a backup plan for Ayuk last year, their backup plan ended up being what's the kid's name from the Rams? I can't remember his name. Rams kid. Oh God, his dad's was a player. Oh man, what was his name? God, I'm gonna be so mad because I'm gonna think about it after I get out of here. They brought him in. They didn't have a plan B. It looks like we have a plan B. Because you don't just kind of walk away from it if you don't have a plan B. I don't know who that is. But what I do know is they're probably going to be cheaper as far as if we trade for them. Because why? The more data I can get from it. George Pickens is sitting there, and he has 1 year left on his deal too. And he's like, I'm putting up the same numbers as freaking DK Metcalf. You better give me a $33 million extension too. A year. They're not going to give him a $33 million extension. But he has a point. He's like, this guy has a year left on his contract. He don't need to wait. Why do I need to wait until the end of this year to get a new contract? So George Pickens is going to be on the market. George Pickens might have been traded as I'm talking right now. I don't know. But George Pickens enters the market so that the supply and demand becomes the same amount of supply, right? But the demand now decreases because the Steelers got their guy. So they're not on the market for a wide receiver one. So the supply and demand, we have more supply than demand. Not only that, but D. Higgins is sitting there looking for a deal. And he sees old DK over there getting $33 million. He's like, I'm putting up way better numbers than DK per game. He only played 12 games because why? He's on a franchise tag. He's only going to play when he's 100%. He's going to take games off. So he played 12 games and had 73 catches for 911 yards and 10 touchdowns. DK played 15 games, had 5 touchdowns, and didn't hit 1,000 yards. So he's like, yo, they were both wide receiver twos on their team last year. He's like, if old DK's getting $33 million, I'm at least getting $35 million a year. And old Jamar Chase is over there being like, yo, you guys told me I was going to be the highest paid non-quarterback. And old Myles Garrett got 4-year, $160 million extension. So if he's getting $40 million a year, then I better be getting $41 million a year, at least. For now. I mean, who knows what's going to happen by the time, because they're not even close on contracts, apparently. So I'm supposed to believe the cap is at $280 million. $41 million for Chase, $35 million for T. That's $76 million. That's about 30% of the cap. For 2 players, add Joe Burrow to it, you're looking at 50% of the cap. You add Mike Gesicki, you're at like 55% of the cap. For 1 quarterback and 3 pass catchers. Your offensive line is depleted. You got no offensive line yet left. Offensive line left. Apparently, you're trading away Trey Hendrickson. If you don't, you're gonna have 75% of your cap in 5 players. They're they we gotta realize that people don't tell the truth. Because DK didn't want to go play in the cold weather. Okay, yeah, sure. Like, wide receiver wasn't a priority for us. Remember Dave Canales? I mean, it's a priority. It's not the main. It's not the main priority. You're about to shell out $120 million. Get out of here. So this whole fun. Oh, we're gonna keep T and Chase. Oh, you are? Because T's been looking for a contract for I don't know, 2 years now, and you haven't given him one, and the price just keeps going up. So what else have I learned? That T Higgins is now back in play because they just can't afford him. So what does that do? It adds more supply to my supply and demand. So basic economy or basic econ, I have more supply than I used to have, and the demand is lower because Pittsburgh's out. They don't need a quarterback. They don't need a receiver anymore. And now we're entering free agency, which lowers the price tag even more because what are we doing? We're adding more supply. So the more supply you keep adding, now the Panthers don't got to pay a second round pick for a wide receiver anymore. They're still going to pay the money because the money's the money. It's a fixed variable, basically. But that 52nd overall pick is going to look like our big overpay for DK Metcalf before it's all said and done. So now Panthers don't have to pay that 3rd and 5th anymore. They only got to pay that 3rd probably. Maybe. Because now they have so much leverage. It's the supply and demand is so much better for them now, which they probably knew. They probably looked and see what the Steelers were doing, and they probably said, "Oh, great, that's great for us." Now our plan B, which who knows, it might be T. Plan C might be Ayuk. Plan D might be Godwin. I don't know. Plan E could be Pickens. But now it looks a lot more realistic that they're going to have somebody come in. If they're willing to pay that $120 million already, looks like they're going to have somebody be able to come in and be the wide receiver 1 over in Carolina. Because we know that they're interested in it, and we know they're willing to pay that price. Pay that price. Bad joke, bad pun. Yeah, so it ends up, honestly, being a good thing that we didn't get DK. Honestly, and I'm not saying I always say I'm not a freaking scout. I don't know. I put people in boxes. Wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, top 20, top 30, $30 million a year range, 40 million, like that. I'm do those things, those numbers. But basic econ, because think about what we did with Brian Burns. We traded Brian Burns before there was more supply in the market. When more supply in the market happened, it was real easy for the Jets to get Hassan Reddick. Granted, they were stupid and they didn't get a deal with them, and it was bad organizations are bad organizations. But that's why you make those calls early on. That's why you're aggressive but responsible. Cut ties immediately with all those Von Bell, Bradley Bozeman, yada yada yada. Very had a plan, and it's so nice to have a plan. So nice to have a plan. And what do we know? We know their plan. Their plan is to get a wide receiver 1 first, which is so nice. It's so nice to hear that. It's not going to be Darius Slayton. Like, it's just not. I mean, we might get Darius Slayton, but Darius Slayton's not going to be our wide receiver 1. Everybody just relax. We really might be interested in him. But it's just so funny. I talked to Mike K on occasion, and I don't want to give away what we talk about, but basically we're talking about what's going to happen this offseason. And I'm like, Mike, we're gonna get guys. Like we this he's like, oh, so settle down now. Like it's not gonna be that big. I was like, no, Mike, we're gonna get probably get 2 top 10 guys, and I think Holland and Milton Williams, and then we're gonna bring in a corner, and we're gonna get like this tier of edge rusher. So, and he was like, oh yeah, probably you'll probably get like 2 top 20, 2 top 40 to 50 guys. So I was like, Mike, that's huge. That's like huge for the Panthers. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, you're right. He's like, when you say like big offseason, I just think of like a big offseason. I don't equate it to big offseason for the Panthers. So it's so funny how like we're so woe is me about everything. And it's like, no, normal teams have these kind of off seasons all the time. This is not overpaying. Like, we got to get out of the mindset that we don't have cap. We can't spend money. We got to. I don't want to spend all this money for this player, or like we need to keep our assets close. We're so like hoarders with our little picks and our money, because that's what we've had to be for so long. But now I think we're entering into like respectable team territory. I wouldn't say we're into good organization territory, but we're in respectable team. We're like kind of doing what the Texans did. Like the Texans were kind of in like, oh, you guys are bordering on bad organization. It's a respectable team. I don't think they're a good organization yet. I think they made kind of weird moves sometimes, but they're respectable as an organization. And I think that we're stepping into the respectable team category because we have plans, we make specific decisions, we're quiet, we're not salesy about what we're doing with our players. We run this team like a hedge fund, honestly, which makes a ton of sense. What do hedge funds do? They do a lot of research on equities, on stocks, on companies, and they buy into them. It's sort of what we're doing. And they keep it quiet. Why? Because they don't want other teams to know what they're doing. That's what we're doing right now. We're doing a ton of homework. We're buying players at a correct price. We're aggressive but responsible, and we're keeping it quiet. It's so refreshing. And I think that it's all going to work out and everybody's going to be happy with how we enter the season. So, I mean, by the time you listen to this, the first part of free agency probably already happens and you're already feeling good again. But overall, the message for this episode is a lot of good came from not getting DK. And as a whole, when I'm excited, when I'm doing like little gifts and stuff like that, and we don't get DK, I'm not mad at it, because we did the things the right way. And if you continue to do the things the right way, it's gonna work out. Granted, I know we're in an immediate satisfaction kind of, or instant gratification kind of world that we live in, and we want the now, like we want the guy we wanted right now. But we're doing the right things, and because of that, I'm in, man. I'm in on the Panthers right now. It's I'm buying. They're it's a bull market for Panthers. If you hedge fund now, whatever. No, I like it, man. I really like what we're doing. I'm sorry that I pushed this DK narrative, because I never ever go above like 50% chance we get this guy. I was like 75% chance we're getting DK, and we had the opportunity. I wasn't in the room, so I don't know, but I think we could have closed faster, and the Steelers would have never came in and swooped in. Basically, I think that's what they did. One, because there were no reports leaked about the Steelers. It was always the Chargers and the Raiders and the Patriots and yada, yada, yada. I think they came in at the 11th hour and stole them. But that it might have ended up being a good thing overall because they created the chaos. And if we control the chaos, we can make it work for us. Because I mean, you look at I bet the Bengals aren't looking at that DK move and are happy. I bet the 49ers aren't looking at that DK move and happy. I bet the Steelers are like, oh crap, we probably should have traded Pickens before we got DK. Oh, nuts. Because now we know they have to get rid of Pickens. We know it. So with that, his price tag just went down. Because they acted out of desperation and we acted it might be the first time ever that I can think that we outplayed the Steelers on this. Because they acted not Steelers' way. They acted because what happens when people think that their jobs are at stake, they start making irrational moves. And I wish I could have finished Road to 25 because that's what was happening with Hurney, with Fitterer, with Rule. They started panicking. And when you panic, you don't think straight. You just like make it happen kind of thing. And when you're a make it happen person, you usually don't think it through correctly. And that's the difference between being a independent day trader or being a hedge fund. Day traders are like, oh, there's a run on Facebook. Let me get it and get on the run. And then what happens? The market sinks and you lose money and blah, blah, blah. But if you're a hedge fund, like, let me do a research on the company, where the company's going, what the projections are, yada, yada, yada. We're going to hold this company for a year, get past the short-term capital gains taxes. Like, they think about everything. And the Steelers were the day traders right here. And the Panthers are acting like a hedge fund. And I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, this wasn't as good as my first one was because I'm a little more tired than I was. First one was really good that I didn't record, but this one, 95% is good. All right, y'all. Big day tomorrow. Darren Gant said it. Daniel Jeremiah said it. I said it last March that this year was going to be crazy, but nobody cares about that. People don't care about Darren Gant said it's going to be crazy, and Daniel Jeremiah said Panthers are going to go crazy, so let's go Panthers. Keep pounding. Until next time.